Hey everyone, we'll be starting in a moment. I'm getting everything set up, so please bear with me. I'm getting everything set up. Quiet me. Okay, everything's on there. Showing up on here. Close this. Don't need these two anymore. Connection seems to be good. Voice is being heard. I think we can begin. So, hi everyone, welcome. Welcome to another stream of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Today, we are into the second trial of the second case of the poisoning of Shamspeare. We had managed to stop last time. We stopped Mrs. Green from killing herself because she's depressed and round. Because we found out that she was actually the fiancé of the guy that was originally in the building before Setsuki, or Soseki was, not Setsuki. Soseki was. So she's depressed. And then she received a letter about speaking with someone about the truth about what happened to her fiancé, who I cannot remember the name of right now. We also found out some more stuff, which I can't recall right now, so we're going to find out what happens in today's trial. Whether we're going to be able to finish the actual case for today, or if it's still got more to do after this, we shall find out. But, yeah. Hey, Refatron, welcome. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling... okay? Question mark? Like, I don't feel awful, but I feel off. But I definitely don't feel like I'm like about to throw up just yet, so I should be fine. I'm a little tired because I did have a messed up sort of sleeping schedule because I had to make a call early in the morning and then go back to sleep. So, but it is what it is. Do you think Soseki will avoid the Reaper? I mean, he showed up in the case that was in the first part, which was after this, so he should. Maybe by the end he dies in some way. Just like he does in the real world. But yeah. Anyway, on this, we're going to see how far we can get done today. I'm going to hopefully be able to do the normal amount of time, depending on how much is in this part. So without further ado, let us switch over to the game screen and begin. But how is everyone else today, anyway? Everyone good? No one else sick? Ooh. I like this. Alright, let me see if we're showing up and everything. Yep. Refresh, restream as usual. I mean, not everybody. Gina wasn't. Soseki didn't. The other guy didn't, which I can't remember the name of right now. But I know the Irish guy did. He died in a blaze of glory. Been waiting on a package all day. Well, hopefully it comes soon. Okay, everything's showing up. So we're gonna switch the things back because we're now in court and we need to dress up normal. Should I keep these on though? Because they're still quite smart and they're quite fitting for a courtroom in a sense. Should we keep these on? Obviously this I'm going to keep off because, you know, it makes more sense for him. Who said Gina was alive? I don't know. If she somehow died without anyone saying anything, that'd be weird. Switch back? Okay. I just realized how plain he looks in his normal outfit. He actually looks kind of good in this. Continue. Yes, the memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro, Trial Part 2. They will definitely clash with the tone. Got it. 23rd of February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey. I didn't say detectives. Defendant's antechamber. Oh, hi. I get a chance to read that. This is it then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, it's time to put an end to this now. To the miserable curse that's been plaguing Mr. Natsume. To everything. And in my own small way, I shall do everything I can to help you. I always appreciate your help, Mr. Zato. We should get married. Suffering Soseki selfishly sidelined. Good morning to you too, Mr. Natsume. Good morning. Good morning, locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Listen to you two chatting away happily as if the main player of today's trial isn't here. Why would you do that? Why? Oh dear, we didn't mean to cause offense, Mr. Natsume. To be fair, it's a Japanese school uniform. The entire point of those is to be bland. Okay. I thought perhaps that because your eyes had been shut so tightly, you were meditating, finding inner calm. It seemed wrong to disturb you. I was waiting. What's the matter, Mr. Natsume? You seem different somehow today. Why, naturally, that's because I've entertained stat visual enlightenment. The path of literature, you see, is a journey to discover one's own death. Oh, such like. That's the sort of boring conversation I was hoping for. That's why I had my eyes shut. I missed the signs, I'm afraid. Somehow. You'll have to forgive me. And you mustn't talk of your path leading you to death, Mr. Natsume. That was just an example. Oh, yes, there it is. In a calm. You barely came to see me all of yesterday. And I was sure you had abandoned me and returned to your beautiful, long-lost homeland. You won't be saying that anytime soon when you end up getting put in another court case for murder. I mean, you won't be accused, but you'd be in one. We've not even been in Great Britain a week yet. Yes, well, anyway. I intend to set everything straight in court today. I am determined to uncover the truth. I've actually reached an important decision myself. Oh? What sort of decision? I shall fill you in after the trial. Alright. It would seem Mr. Sholmes isn't coming today after all. It's a very clever message, I think. My dear fellows, you must win this battle on your own merits. It's a very clear message, I think, that he's overslept again. The great detective, my arch nemesis. Long may he stay away, if you ask me. Defendant and your legal representative. The trial is about to begin. Make your way into the courtroom immediately. Soseki has fallen to the victims of the flow of calamity. Oh no, he's going to go into berserk. The anime and manga. Well, maybe not the anime. Not the new one, anyway. Or newer. Today, once again, we face the Reaper. And when the Reaper stands with the prosecution, the defendant's fate is sealed. But I don't believe in the legend any more than I believe in Soseki-san's curse. The truth is hidden out here somewhere, and I won't let it escape me. I have to keep believing in my client and keep fighting to the very end. That's all. Okay. 23rd of February, 9:40 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. Yes, the defense is ready.
Very good. And now I call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury, chosen by lot to represent by the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to proceed?
Every time he comes back, he becomes more and more like...
Bah, humbug.
Every single time. He's becoming less like Santa Claus and more like... Not the Grinch. But just, you know...
Balderdash. Absolutely, justice will be done. You mark my words.
I do declare, I feel obliged to say, I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat sits just right. Oh, well, I wonder if you could adjust my hat for me. And please be as ruthless as you like. Thieves deserve to die if you ask me, especially gas thieves. I have no sympathy for the man at all. Look, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again now. I don't have time for this, I've got my own problems. Didn't you try and deal with them last time? You still haven't dealt with that?
Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict again today. Now, Lord Van Zieks, can you tell us?
Cotton math from Fat Albert. Yeah.
The prosecution's report, please, for the court. In relation to the theory expounded by the defense yesterday regarding the defendant's tea.
So he does have the results. I wonder if they were both poisoned. Before the prosecution delivers the black news about the tea belonging to the blackguard or blackguard in the dock. I'm surprised Balleroth isn't here for some more Van Zieks. And I said their name and I said Van Zieks, that should summon them. Pray, allow me a moment to savor a liquid of a more sanguine hue. In fact, I defer to the good detective for the report. Here's to you, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As indicated by the defense, we found a bar of soap just outside the victim's window in the snow. And there was indeed a frozen reddish liquid in a little depression on the top of it.
Yes, that's the tea. That's what Mr. Matsume brought with him that night.
Well, the brains at the Oz analyzed it, and yes, you're right. It was tea. And there wasn't a trace of strychnine or any other toxic substance in it.
No poison at all?
In other words, the tea that the defendant brought with him to the victim's room is innocent. It's in the clear. What a revelation!
Okay, I mean, you don't have to specifically send them a message. I was just saying that I know how to summon them. Just say the word Van Zieks and Balleroth and they come in. As I suspected. This makes it quite clear. The defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsumi, is blameless here. My learned friend is jumping to conclusions again. A typical Nipponese reaction. What? Yes, it's true. No poison was found in the few drops of liquid recovered from the soap on the window ledge. But what logic is that? Well, would you take a drop from the Thames and conclude that the water in the ocean isn't salty?
My word! The water in the ocean is extremely salty, Counsel!
Exactly. Unfit for drinking, just as the victim's tea on the night in question, as the court has already heard. I mean, it's not just the fact that the Thames is salty, it's also, you know, extremely dirty, especially during the Victorian era, which is what this is based in. It was filthy. Just as bad as the French canals are right now, if not worse. Bitter was the precise word from the lips of Mr. William Shamspeare, whom the prosecution now calls back to the stand.
Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's request.
Mr. Shamspeare. Yes, it sounds like we're going to have another confrontation with our theatrical friend.
Bailiff, show Mr. Shamspeare to the stand.
Mr. William Shamspeare, the victim of this despicable crime. O heaven, O hell, do you command me to remember? Forsooth, 'twas I, Shamspeare, did have a bellyful of the foul fluid given in mine innocence.
Yes, but it was revealed in yesterday's proceedings that the witness is not as innocent as we had first been led to believe.
By using bars of soap such as this, he was stealing gas from the supply company. Yes. One may smile and be a villain. Forsooth, 'twas I, Shamspeare, did have a roomful of the sweet fuel given.
That's right. Fellow jurors, don't forget, this man is a rotten thief.
I haven't forgotten. Kept all about that ice coin's a tidy secret, didn't you? You should have owed up sooner. Arrest him, I say. Arrest him at once and let him feel the sting in my tail. Oh, indeed, but dint of vile and cowardly means have I plotted to further mine own ends, I confess. Thou wouldst not pardon my sins, of that I am sure. If you acknowledge your wrongdoing, what exactly are you doing here? Cowards die many times before their deaths, and for a coward such as I, death will be well deserved. But would it be that a still greater crime passive unpunished? For lo, the hairy-faced gentleman of farther east than Verona did contrive to poison me.
Objection!
But there was no poison in the tea found in your room. The police have attested to that. What the defense would assert as an inconsistency will quickly be cleared up by the witness's testimony. Why is he rhyming? Is that not so, Mr. Shamspeare? Verily, my liege, I would most gladly speak. I just need to wipe my screen because I'm spitting everywhere.
Very well. Let the witness testify to explain this inconsistency. Tell the court why it is that poison apparently entered your body, through none of what was found in the tea.
Though, not through. The tea inconsistency. The Japanese man did come to my chamber with tea brewed in a pot. 'Twas in my cup alone that the wicked miscreant secretly poured his wicked poison. Whilst feigning distraction in our debate, ne'er did a drop of his own drink pass his lips. When he departed by and by, I did use the tea that remained in his cup to make my coins of ice. Thus 'tis no surprise that poison be not found in the tea I did pour in the moulds of soap. The poison was slipped into the cup after the tea had been poured. The normal way for poison to be administered in my experience.
Quite. Otherwise it would be disastrous if the poisoner were to mix up the cups, for instance.
But no poison bottle was found at the scene. Because, quite simply, the Nipponese took the bottle back to his own room. The absence of a vessel containing the poison only becomes problematic when considering suicide. I knew that. By now, it should be perfectly clear. The bar or two of cheap soap is wholly insufficient to wash the deep stains of guilt from the accused's hands. Sirs, madams, 'tis true that I, Shamspeare, be a common thief of gas. But, listen here, ladies and gentlemen. Wherefore would I lie? Verily, I have no cause. I have naught to lose. Well, I do declare.
Thank you for your testimony, witness. Counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Woo. The tea inconsistency again.
Hold it!
I understand that you were already acquainted with Mr. Natsume. Is that correct? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Do I know thee, or know thee not? Methinks 'tis all I can know, that thy destiny mingles with mine. You lost me at the first thee. Zounds, sir, thou must learn the English tongue afore thou turns thy hand to lorrying. I did, but I must have missed the archaic Elizabethan lecture. Verily and in truth, 'twas a fine-flavoured brew. Though a drop of poison did barb its sweetness, as the thorn doth barb the sweet rose. That, dear friends, be the simple truth. Listen to Mr. Shakespeare. He seems even better than form than he was yesterday. Either that or I'm in worse form. That fated evening after I did dine, at Grubb's Grubbery, a local alehouse of good rapport. Naught did pass my lips but the tainted black tea. But behold, the poison was not in the tea at first.
Hold it!
Are you saying that you saw the moment when the poison was added to your tea? If so, why did you drink it? To have witnessed the act and then drank the tea, thou dost describe the actions of a fool.
Oh, quite so, quite so.
But no one likes going thirsty, do they? Sooner would I die quenched than parched would I have the choice. They actually were allowed to use Haseki's name by his family under the condition that he hated England. Wow. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't want to be one guide. Actually, on the night in question, the water main was frozen, I believe, wasn't it? Were it not for the tea, in sooth I would sooner have died frozen than quenched or parched. Right. No ice coins means no heating. The witness had more than one brush with death on the night in question, it would seem. Remind the court, Mr. Shakespeare, as to whether the accused drank any of the tea with which he brought with him. With the greatest of pleasure, my liege. Also, why would they need to ask about using someone's name from like 100 years ago? There's no like statute of limitations on that kind of thing. It's just a name. Like, you don't expect me to be... You don't expect other people like, oh, I want to use Hitler in my game. We better ask Hitler's family if we can use his name. No.
Hold it!
But the teacup Mr. Natsumi drank from was completely empty at the scene. And let's not forget the defendant Maxim. Drink tea while it's hot. I did gulp from the poisoned cups that night, and in mine own agony did I writhe uncontrolled. In fits of pain I did knock the fellow's cup, and its contents spilt its blood from a gaping wound, methinks. Although certainly 'twas after I had made the coins of ice from his tea. An upset cup was found at the table and the victim was slumped over. There is no contradiction here. It's true, there was no tea left in either cup when we found at the scene. But still, something about this statement is troubling me. Yes, of course. I know what it is. It's Mr. Natsumi's wise drink tea while it's hot maxim, isn't it? No, I'm not so sure that's it.
Oh, thank you, witness. Now reiterate for the court what it is that occupies you or what you guessed had left before you drank your tea.
Hold it!
I was going to press on everything first. Yes, so that you could cheat the gas company, in fact. Isn't that right? To cheat. Or to die. 'Tis life's only choice. Yes. Faith, to cheat be the wise choice, and mine occupation be not an ugly one. Prithee, dost thou not see beauty in the simplicity of the ruse? No, I do not, and I'd be very sure, sir. Once this trial is over, Altamont Gas will make you take the task over this legal task. I shall not run. I shall not hide. Sooth to say, I have nowhere to run, nor to hide. But, my lady, what wouldst thou with this pitiful player? Oh, I'll tell you what I'd like to do with you, starting with the shoddy shirt on your back. 'Tis time for Shamspeare's dance. What a harsh world we live in. The thieving of the gas was addressed in yesterday's proceedings. The prosecution calls on the defense not to muddy the waters with irrelevancy.
I consider that a warning, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Why am I the one in trouble here? Mr. Shamspeare, after the accused returned to his own lodgings, you used his tea to make your coins. Is that correct? To cheat or to die, I did make my choice many moons ago. Remember how I said you should give a character in the next case a GLaDOS voice? Hope you can do a Bayonetta voice as well. I cannot do female voices. I can try, but it's still going to just be me pretending to do a female voice. I'm not trained. I need to be trained in that. And I want to be trained in that because that'd be cool. Because then I wouldn't have to like try and see about getting a second person to stream with me that's a woman that can do the female voices. Then I could just do it.
Hold it!
If, having first made your special coins, it was after 2 in the morning when you collapsed, that would mean you can't have drunk any tea yourself until around that time. Once ensnared by literary debate, naught else be found in the furrows of the mind. The debate about Romeo and Juliet, you mean? And who was the stronger of the two? Rightly did I pay no heed to the tea as I wrestled with the abominable fellow. I don't remember debates like that when I was studying.
Are you suggesting that either of you actually drank the tea while it was hot that evening?
My lord, wouldst thou privy be some Shakespearean wisdom? Husband, wife, and tea ought I tepid be. Ah, yes, so very true. Everyone has different preferences when it comes to tea. I think you might have interpreted that wrongly. So it's been proven that there was no poison in Sasaki-san's tea. That would be hugely in our favor. But the atmosphere in this courtroom today... It feels as though everybody is against us, Mr. Naruhodo. It must be the Reaper's poison. I'm afraid... Oops. Didn't mean to click there. I'm afraid if we don't find a significant flaw in this testimony somewhere, the jury will pounce and find Mr. Natsumi guilty. It really feels like we've jumped into the fire here. Oh, wait, not too far. Near did a drop of his own drink pass his lips. Presents, maybe. I guess this one?
Objection!
You claim that Mr. Natsume didn't drink a drop of tea on the night in question. But that's impossible. How, chop logic? What is this, you clad fiend? The 2 teacups from the scene, one used by the victim and the other by the defendant, have a clear difference between them. One that represents incontrovertible proof.
Incontrovertible?
What difference? Look at the inside of the cups, just here. There's a clearly visible ring. Yes, a tea ring. Commonplace enough.
Indeed, such stains occur all too readily when one leaves tea in a cup for a while.
And yet, Mr. Natsume's cup has no such ring.
Good lord, you're right. It's completely clean.
And prithee, sir, what marks makest thou of it? Exactly what Mr. Natsume told the court yesterday, the Japanese saying he quoted.
Drink.
Tea?
Well, it's hot.
That's right. Yes. The jittery Mr. Natsumi was true to his usual self that night and drank his tea in no time. If, as you claim in your testimony, he didn't touch a drop of his tea, a ring would have developed on the inside of his cup as well after the several hours the tea was left standing. That's a new expression. In short, Mr. Shamspeare, you clearly lied to the court. Get thee to a nunnery or nunnery.
Objection!
As a rule, I would fill my hallowed chalice up to 7 times during any one trial. You might want to keep that information to yourself. Yet on occasion, the tedium distracts me and I pour more times than I intend until the bottle is dry. Your drinking habits are fascinating but irrelevant. On the contrary, they illustrate the fickleness of human memory. To William Shamspeare. Yes, my liege. Although you previously stated that you made the coins of ice from the leftover tea in the accused cup. Could it be that you were perhaps mistaken? Could it be that, yes, perhaps there was some tea remaining in the small teapot left at the scene? Objection, leading. A fact that had vanished from your memory until now. Faith, my liege, thou art a magician. For verily, 'tis as though thou hast seen with thine own eyes that night. What? Forsooth, I was mistook. I did plan to use tea from the Japanese fellow's cup, but lo, when I looked, 'twas empty. And thus did I use the dregs that festered in the teapot as my liege had suggested.
Objection!
And you just suddenly remembered now that you made a mistake before? Are we supposed to believe that?
Objection!
People's memories are imperfect, my learned friend, which is why we rely on evidence instead. But in any case, it makes no difference. The victim's most recent testimony tells us 2 things of note. Firstly, that the poison was put into the victim's teacup only. And secondly, that this spoiled cup was not the source of the insipid ice coins that have bewitched this court.
The prosecution makes a fine summary of the facts.
Furthermore, that testimony remains valid and in full support of the established facts. In other words, I throw my cape at thee. The inconsistency claimed by the defense simply does not exist. No!
What does this mean, then?
I do declare, it means there's no issue with the gas thief's testimony. Apart from the bit about the thieving gas, obviously. My lords, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I do solemnly swear, after I did dine at Grubb's Grubbery Alehouse that night, naught did pass my lips, but the black tea given me by the Japanese, whose back be stooped as low as death.
And on what did you dine, sir?
Why, I did partake of my favourites. A broth as wouldst be thou call soup, and a leaf as thou would call salad. As insalubrious as a menu at the establishment where it was served. But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. Willingly would I suffer what punishment 'tis seen fit to serve a wicked thief of gas. But I pray ye wise and noble fellows ne'er forget the simple truth. That one be thing, or be one thing, that this be another. Jurors, all your humble servant Shamspeare doth entreat you, punish the Japanese fellow for his sins.
My lord! If I may speak, my lord. Arrest forward. I believe he may have been duped by that rotten defense lawyer.
By me? I do declare you may be right. We all know the waste there was making coins of ice to keep himself warm. But this lad said he's stealing gas he deserves a dose of poison, eh? He's been leading us on the garden path, that's what he's been doing. I really never said anything like that.
But what we just heard from the victim here has opened my eyes again. We've reached a decision this time, and we won't be swayed from it.
How are you falling for this?
Oh, we gotta make this case longer. The court acknowledges the position of the jury's foreman, and will duly hear the jury's findings.
What? No! You can't yet.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
I hereby declare the jury to be in one in concord.
Oh, happy day. How is this happening? My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination.
Very well, the court upholds the defense's right.
Typical. My learned friend is unable to accept the obvious truth.
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you defend the defendant guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
I wish we had an animation studio like the one in the Apollo Justice Trilogy. I mean, yeah.
I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty, even though it's been proven that he wasn't.
I do declare, I agree with this gas is far too expensive. I quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying. The stuff explodes and it can't poison you. It's absolutely lethal gases. Gas doesn't come free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes. Truth be told, the tea from my wife stirs me is up for a little sketchy at times.
If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there? I do feel that perhaps personal opinion about gas and its supply has influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind.
No, you really should mind. The truth is, our counter-arguments wasn't as saleable as we had hoped. And Mr. Shamspeare was poisoned. There can be no doubt of that. Then how are we supposed to turn this around? I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shamspeare was poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that to the court incontrovertibly. But that's surely impossible at this stage. If we don't manage it, though, Mr. Natsumi will be found guilty.
No delays, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination.
I am here to cut you all down with my sword. Defense's rebuttal.
Hold it!
All the evidence, you say?
Oh, that's right. There's no room for doubt. It's all pointing to that Japanese man with the big mustache.
Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. Which means we need to show the man some new evidence to make him change his mind. If only we had that kind of evidence. But don't worry, this summarization examination has barely started, really. Perhaps there'll be a shift in the situation that shows an existing piece of evidence in a new light. Well, let's hope so. To start with, though, I need to find some way out of this deadlock.
Hold it!
This isn't the time or the place to be discussing the price of gas, madam. But really, I think of the injustice that air is a gas and air is free. Why should ultimate gas cost money? It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever. This isn't the time or the place to be ruthless either. If I might interject here. Yes, madam? It seems my fellow juror takes issue with the price of our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because of thieves like this man that the cost goes up. Oh, what a beastly man. That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea and stealing gas. Utterly unforgivable. No, Mr. Natsumi isn't the one who's been stealing gas. I'll thank you not to go adding on more crimes. Mr. Natsumi hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I made up my mind. Or quite made up my mind. It is made as the gas. I made up it has made up as the price of gas.
Hold it!
Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir? Well, if you like. I mean, to be honest, I'd take poison over gas every time. You'd take poison? What I mean is, poison can only be poison you. It doesn't explode, does it? Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man. Well, it's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room. You're right. I hadn't considered that at all. A young lawyer man. Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you as our company's legal representative. Oh man, and then we'll have a wage! Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure. Well, anyway, the point is, I haven't had the best experience with gas companies in the past.
Hold it!
Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas? There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so. I'm doing the wrong voice for her. She's really buzzing now. Haha, because she's a bee. All I heard about our wonderful fuel is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity? What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison.
Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madam. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable.
My point exactly, but the thieves aren't even getting the worst of our enemies. Or aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on a daily basis, you know. More devious? Who, madam? Other gas companies, of course. Other gas companies. Not quite what I was expecting. We generate gas and we deliver it to our customers fair and square.
Indeed. Nobody is questioning that, madam. Ultimate Gas is an exemplary gas company.
But there are other unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have gas at all. Oh, what? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people? You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
They steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. And these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert their gas into their little rotten pipes. And then they make a contract with the household supplied by those pipes. I'm starting to wonder if the household for Mr. Garrideb has that. And take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours without even knowing. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally? What a brazen form of theft. When we visit the customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies have been up to its tricks. What are you looking like that for?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3? Oh, golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry, I was just thinking to myself. I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct? Well, yes. I just got a little riled up about it recently, you see. Go on. An ultimate gas worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask you for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in. And do you know what he did? I'm, afraid I have no idea. Please tell us. He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it. What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there. Oh, please, everybody knows, but it was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you. What do you mean? I'll explain if you don't mind. As I said before, these unscrupulous other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network. Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it? Obviously, there's a gas in the pipes, and it's a fairly low pressure. By blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily, but it doesn't sound safe to just blow directly into a gas main like that. What if you swallow it? Or breathe it in? And if you do that, any lights connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe, the lights of an adjacent property that has no contract with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes.
Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have the teams of workers going around the neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker. The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't even know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might. And you can guess what happened, can't you? Well, if he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean... That's right. The lights didn't just flicker, they went out, along with the stove. Gas started pouring into the house. What a disaster. The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly when the man blew too hard, so the flames went out. I'm afraid I yelled at the fella. Are you trying to kill us all? I said. So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps and stove connected to the same network of pipes. And then when the gas started flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room. Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps... Yes, this is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for. Juror number 3, the defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Oh, well, if you'd like. I don't mind. Well, I do. That's our company's secret method for identifying the rogues they tried to diddle us. Like I said, madam, it's widely known already. Wiping screen.
Very well, juror number 3 will amend your test statement accordingly.
Yes, my lord, although I'm not really sure what the point of all this is.
Hold it!
You mean it's poisoned? That's right. It happened to Tide a few times now.
This is most troubling indeed.
There's always days like this one when I don't get any wages. I get in at tea time, see. And I see her doing it, my wife. She gets that devilish look on her face, and she slips some white powder into my cup. And you drink it anyway? I was brought up proper, I was. If something gives you cuppa, you drink it. And what happened to you? What did it taste like? It was god-awful, believe you me. Salty as hell. Next episode, the judge is just that guy from Chowder. And then I think perhaps what your wife put in your tea was salt. No. So, she doesn't even care enough to poison me properly, eh? Unbelievable.
Let's move on, please.
Hold it!
Does that mean that if the victim could be shown to have invested something else, you'd change your leaning?
Sorry? What's that now?
Oh, I was just saying, if the victim did actually eat or drink something else in the night...
What's the matter with you?
Sorry?
I said if nothing else passed the victim's lips that night. There's no other explanation, is there? Haven't you been listening to me at all?
I feel there's an English expression about a pot and a kettle that's appropriate here. Compared to the other jurors who don't appear to have anything to say about the case at all, it would seem that this elderly gentleman has been listening to the proceedings far more intently. I suppose the trouble is, he has selective hearing. Exactly, but still, This juror may well be the key to break through that we so desperately needed.
This is hopeless. There's no way for me to appeal to these people.
I do think that the only way we should overcome this difficult situation is by exposing the way in which Mr. Shamspear was really poisoned. We have to prove that it happened some other way, and not via Mr. Natsume's tea. Yes, I know. The trouble is, I have absolutely no idea how it did happen. Mr. Naruhodo, I wonder if perhaps there's something you might have forgotten? Oh, like what? It's important to watch everyone involved and pursue people if they react to something else someone else says. If you'd like me to remind you exactly what I mean, I'd be more than happy to, of course. Once again, Suzeki-san's fate is entirely in my hands here. I probably owe it to my client to hear any advice my assistant may be able to offer. So perhaps I ought to let Sasada remind me? Then again... Oh, damn it! I don't want to click that! When a particular juror is talking, the other jurors will be listening naturally. And most of the time, when people are speaking themselves, they are careful not to give away any more than they want to. But when they're listening to others speak, they tend to be less guarded. Yeah, that's very true. So, if you see people reacting strangely in an unguarded moment, you must pursue them to find out why. Here, take a look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. This random screenshot I took with a button I had no idea did anything. When you press jurors and their assertions, a marker appears in the center of the screen. Press AD, you can move the marker, blah, 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 blah. I know how to work with this. You find a particular acting oddly, press him or her about it. By catching people off guard, you may be able to glean new and potentially useful information. Yes, alright, I got it. Press it, and then if something seems odd, slide the markers with AD to see if one of the other jurors is having an unusual reaction. I don't know, so sure as that juror. Pit. Blow too hard in the gas pipes and you extinguish everything in the house. If nothing can pass the victim's lips, there might be no other explanation. Maybe these two? Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To those two Good gracious. To whose statements do you prefer, counsel?
Juror number 6. Did you hear what juror number 3 just said?
Oh, what? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other.
There is another explanation, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in manner of speaking, pass the victim's lip on the night in question.
Oh, what? What explanation?
I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene? To see if there were any traces of poison there? I was curious to see what your floundering resulted in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe. Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. What a piece of work is a man. What are you trying to say, Mr. Shamspear? What speakest thou? Prithee, is it not strange and yet strange? That is what I say to thee, sir. I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body.
Good Lord.
Ah, they tasted then, gas pipes. Is that what I'm saying? Or is the gentleman saying that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with glass? But perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him. For shame, madam, speaking thy fancy. I assure you I'm not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes.
Objection!
This is no summation examination. This is a farce. The prosecution will not stand for any more of the learned Nippody's friends' conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips on the pipe that feeds, he would have to have been a contortionist. These are empty assertions. There's no possible proof that the man did as you say. The amount of times he's destroyed a chalice just in this one part alone.
Objection!
It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shamspeare put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shamspeare has been doing something in front of the lamp on the wall. And I have evidence to prove it.
Alright, if you've got our attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself.
So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that time and time again, Mr. Shamspeare stood in front of his gas lamps. Because you see, there's a lamp right here.
Take that!
What the? These are... Wait, what are these called? Yes, skin prints that were found at the scene.
Skin prints, counsel? I've never heard of such a thing. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in courtroom, however.
My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It reveals all the places that Mr. Shamspeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it.
I mean, that's black magic, isn't it?
Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's that great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure.
I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shamspeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here.
Around the hanging picture there? See, indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder, could he have appreciating the artwork, perhaps? At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing where your hands were where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... Ah! I don't believe it. The gas lamp. Though the reason why it isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shamspeare has regularly been standing with his hands on the wall in front of that lamp. Right. What have you been up to, you nut? I'd asked the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement. Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you recall juror number 3's statement... What? Me now? Or me now? When the gas worker who visited his home blew into too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights in the gas stove to go out, and gas started leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, this simple fact is... if Mr. Shamspeare were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will.
Crikey!
Are you suggesting that the man purposely caused the gas to...
Objection!
Gonna pause it, he's gonna pour it, and then he's gonna throw it. Whilst I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during a summation examination, I must toast my learned friend's utter disregard for the letter of the law.
What is the meaning of this, Lord Radzik?
This curious photograph, or whatever it is presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints. Clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case. But it's an exciting new forensic technique, developed by a great detective. It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands.
Certainly, even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Sholmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
But... please, my lord, if I may, Mrs. Zado, it was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wish to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene, as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yeah, eat that, Van Zeeks! Suck it! And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree.
You're going to do all of them?
You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide. Juror number 3. Oh, yes, I do declare. The Great Detective Investigation results sound absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what the steady actor fellow was up to say about those Haiti handprints. That's 2.
What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy.
Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise.
No, wait! You heard his lordship. It's not fair dinkum evidence.
We're now equal. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. I think that was all on you, Susanoo. It's just one more juror changes his or her mind. Mr. Natsumi's trial will have to continue. Thank you, Mrs. Sato, but I couldn't have done it without you. Oh, no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success. Why, Mr. Shamspear? You seem to be losing your composure. Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You could do it. And then something happens that pauses the trial, like someone gets shot.
Very well. Counsel, continue.
Very interested in the results of the Great Detective's work. One of the jurors' jury. Gas doesn't come for free. Truth be told, the team my wife serves me is sketchy at times. Same as last time. Oh dear. Are there no clues at all that might help us? All we can do is keep pressing these jurors for more information, I suppose. Already did that! Because we simply have to find some way to turn the situation around. Or Mr. Natsumi will be found guilty. I guess I have to press again. Fine.
Hold it!
All the evidence, you say?
That's right. There's no room for doubt. Let's all point to that Japanese man with the big mustache.
Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events of the night in question. What do you make of that?
What, your so-called skin prints?
It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique developed by the great detective himself. The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shamspear had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was.
Well, yes, I won't deny that. It's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides, I hate the Japanese.
Yes?
Even if the fellow had been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it?
Oh.
If you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance.
Huh. You do make a very valid point, sir. What? That's true. I do declare, perhaps I was a little too hasty.
No, wait. Oh, look, you've got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts that can, that is.
Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruhodo, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back. What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show Mr. Shamspear really did blow the gas pipe of the night in question? I do have supporting testimony. No, in truth, I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, there is a witness testimony that substantiates it.
What's that? Testimony?
That is incredible. Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. A person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in the Garrett residence that night. Namely, where is he? Here he is.
Take that!
Well, Mr. Foreman, does that convince you? Whew, I don't think he was listening.
Rest assured, Counsel, I shan't take nonsensical answers given without penalty.
It might be because he hasn't been on the stand, so it might be that I need to get Soseki to do it. Because he did say that it was cold. I thought I got away with it. A witness who spoke about the gas on the night in question? Yes, there was someone. That's what I thought too, but I obviously chose the wrong person. Please don't make me do the whole thing again. Oh my god!
Hold it!
If I chose the correct thing, you should let me stay in the correct thing until I get the correct option or I run out of choices. Or come out of it. Speed!
Take that!
Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant. Mr. Soseki Natsume himself.
The defendant?
At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. My lodgings. There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me. He had gas poisoning. On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that mere coincidence or not?
Good golly.
I do declare, so that Shamspeare fellow blew into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose? Now hold your horses there. Why would he do that for? Mr. Foreman.
What is it, man?
We cannot allow judgment to be passed while this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have any conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree there is more to this case than meets the eye. You know, I just had a thought. I wonder if he's facing this way because he's supposed to be like a picture off a penny.
Fair enough. Like I said out at the outset, I'm a man of logic, first and foremost.
Woo! I win! That's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue.
As the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination is concluded with the majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now call guilty, 4 now call not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shamspeare?
My lord, how can I, humble Shamspeare, serve thee?
What say you in response to the various revelations made by during this summation examination?
So God mend me, I do solemnly swear, I recall aught of either the lamp or the pipe. But your handprints have a tidy mess all over the wall there. How do you explain that, eh? Ah! I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already. Juror number 5. Who, me? As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in the British court of law. As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall remains, at this time, unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that.
Objection!
But the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. And he said stupid. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp in Mr. Shamspeare's room to be examined. If there are any traces of poison there, or saliva, or skin, or anything...
Objection!
What appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind. You will recall that in order to check for the presence of poison in the tea, some remnants of tea were required. Yes. Therefore, it should be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have been completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible. I didn't think of that.
In any case, Counsel, I fail to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you described. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipework where he lived?
There's only one possibility that I can think of, and that is to use the leaking gas to commit murder.
Order, order! Counsel! Precisely whose life did you propose this man was planning to end?
The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shamspeare wanted to end the life of Soseki. If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But a gas stove, on the other hand, could be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. I live around these parts myself, so I know what it's like. I could tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is precisely pretty much suicide. You'd freeze to death in no time. Mr. Garideb, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his part of the residence on the top floor. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shamspeare was trying to end.
Outrageous!
I'm talking, of course, about the defendant. Mr. Natsume isn't the villain in this case. He's the victim the man was trying to murder.
Good gracious!
Objection!
The accused is actually the aggrieved. Interesting. However, the fundamental facts of the case remain unchanged. Namely, that the accused is the aggressor here. What? How can you still claim that? Let us indulge your fancies for a moment and assume there was indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question then that arises is who put it there? The gas worker? Who did put it there? Their only logical conclusion is that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery with the gas supply and his intent to kill.
Yes, that would have seemed quite logical. If the assailant were unaware, how could he or she have been known to the fact that laced the end of the gas pipe with poison?
If you're hearing a bunch of noise, I'm putting my phone thing on and off because I was wiping it. So now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mr. Shamspeare's murderous designs? You mean to suggest? Naturally, the sole purpose to answer that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life has been threatened could possibly have known. What? In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe in what was a clear retaliatory attack could only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Whatever Mr. William Shamspeare may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who could have possibly perpetrated the attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume. The defense counsel's theorizing has failed to avert the suspicion from the accused. Far from it. In fact, now that there is no clear motive for the poisoning has been successfully established, that suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend? And suddenly in comes Edgeworth. I have come. I know the answer. How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly? Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond. Otherwise, the members of the jury may very well change their leanings against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage. What advantage? Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipe in Mr. Shamspeare's room. So we must name that person now and absolve Mr. Natsume's guilt. You mean name the true culprit? I know it might sound impossible, but if we fail to do that, I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all. As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. Is it going to be Miss Green? The evidence, the poison, it's all pointing to a particular person now. The prosecution calls for the jury to consider their leanings again. I trust you'll make the correct choice this time, Mr. Foreman.
What? Oh, don't worry. We know exactly what...
There is one other person who I believe could have been involved in all of this. The true culprit of this crime.
The true culprit?
A term found only in second-rate novels featuring third-rate great detectives, my Nippone's friend. But why not? This farce has gone on long enough, so long already. I see no reason to cut it short before its disappointing climax. Thank you. Oh, my throat went a bit weird there. Tell us, my learned Nipponese friend, what is your latest theory? Who is the so-called true culprit of the crime? My immediate thought is Olive Green. However, it does say that she's been comatose for days. But that might work in the favor of the poisoning, because if the poison had been there for a numerous amount of days, it might have weakened to the point where this guy couldn't die from it. Why did you say it like that? I mean, I had to. Yeah, I'm gonna say screen.
Take that!
The name of the person responsible for the poison that afflicted Mrs. Shanspeare is, I believe, Miss Olive Green.
Miss Olive Green? Miss Olive Green. I do feel as though I've heard that name before in the recent past, Counsel, but I don't recall where.
Miss Olive Green, the woman from 6 days ago. The victim in the recent case of stabbing on Briar Road. An incident for which Mr. Natsumi was arrested, I hasten to add.
Oh, of course, yes, Miss Green. She was left comatose from 3 days ago, I believe, but I hear she regained consciousness 2 days ago.
And I hardly need to remind the court that Mr. Shanspeare's poisoning took place 3 days ago. Given that the woman was lying comatose in a hospital bed at the time, she appears to be a rather fine alibi. True, on the night the incident occurred, Miss Green was in hospital unconscious. So on the face of it, it would seem that she couldn't possibly be responsible, but still. My colleagues and I visited Miss Green in hospital yesterday, and we found her about to be in possession of a bottle of poison.
Good gracious, she had poison?
I made him sound so shocked. He was losing his voice. And there is another fact that links Miss Green to this case as well. The defense requests that she be brought to the witness stand in order to explain the details to the court.
Tell me, Mr. Shanspeare.
My lord, pray what be thy bidding?
Are you acquainted with Miss Green?
No, never heard of her. Judging by the look on Mr. Shanspeare's face, I think perhaps he generally doesn't know her. At least, not by name. As the voice of Her Majesty's prosecution here, I adhere to my word. We shall see my learned Nipponese friend's farce through to its conclusion, because I'm bored. I appreciate that. The prosecution requests a short recess, my lord, in order to subpoena the witness and bring her here.
Yes, Miss Olive Green.
Indeed, my lord. 1 hour should suffice, or be sufficient.
Very well, I grant the request.
Excellent, I hope.
The defense has made a most extraordinary accusation, I must say. But at the present time, I feel the prosecution's argument remains largely uncontested. Accordingly, I'm afraid the defendant and his culpability remains the sole subject of this court attention. Thank you, counsels. Reconvene in 1 hour. Court is adjourned.
Objection! She's already here! Oh wow, to be continued here. Okay. I thought we'd just be continuing, but I guess not. This might be a good place to stop. But like, be a nice cliffhanger. And it's exactly 8 p.m. too. It has been at least an hour and 20 minutes. This might be the perfect place to stop. So I think we'll do that. I think we'll stop here for today so we can have a lot of focus for it next week on this point. I know we started late. I would have continued normally. The next part is about 50 minutes. Then yeah, definitely. It'd probably be that's about an hour. So yeah, I can save that for next time. Whee! 11:32 a.m. We could finish the escapades. We could, but I don't want to. Yeah, we've had an hour. And I would rather just end the game there for now. So don't save. We can do more escapades like another time. For now, we shall stop there, and we shall pick this up next week Tuesday. So look forward to that. This gives me time to like hopefully recover from my ear infection more, and probably not have as much nausea, because I should hopefully by then have my medication. So, you know, anything else? But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed today. Today was good. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, with Death Stranding. If that changes, I will let you all know either on Twitter or Patreon, depending on where you can see it from. Probably both. But yeah, thank you all for joining today. I hope everyone enjoyed. As usual, if you have not already, like, follow, subscribe, bell notifications, all that stuff, so you know when I next stream. They do help, and they put me into the algorithm in YouTube and Twitch or whatever. And if you want to help support me, and you like what I do, there's links to Patreon and tips. And if you do become a patron you get name added to the patron list here, where I give you a shout out of every stream, like I do with Hiroru Kuni, the Soulmaster 37, Rafashon 2000. I thank you for the continued support. I greatly appreciate you all. And we discover that there may be more to this case than meets the eye. But yeah. Let me just catch up on chat quick. Classes start up back next week. Okay, Raffatron. Hopefully it doesn't. You can watch during times where it doesn't interfere with your classwork. But yeah. Until next time, y'all take care. Have a nice rest of the day. I'll see you either tomorrow or next week. So until then, have a nice rest of the day. And until next time, y'all